Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today we've got a Hawk kit of the Lockheed Constellation. This kit was issued in 1954. This is the second issue of the kit, originally issued by Hawk in 1949. This is one of their very first polystyrene kits. They had issued a few racers between 46 and 49 that were made out of acetate. And then this is one of their very first polystyrene kits. It's box scale. In this case, it scales out to 1/140th, but it's still of a pretty great aircraft. The Lockheed Constellation is one of my personal favorites. I think it's one of the most beautiful airplanes ever made. So let's take a look at the kit and see what we got in the box. And so this is a little bit different for these early Hawk kits. They went to a folded box as opposed to the fold open box. This is an end opening box. It's got the illustration information printed directly onto the cardboard, so it's a little duller, a little more muted. So you've got Lockheed Constellation and an all plastic assembly kit with the Hawk name. On the side, you've got Hawk, their company information and their actual address of where they were located. Flip side of it is the exact same as the other side, and again, same thing on this side with the information of the maker. Here's the box end. It's cut number 702, all plastic assembly kit. Looks like it may have been 50 cents. And the other end is exactly the same. So we will get inside this kit and see what we got. Unfortunately, this kit does not have the original instructions. I will put at the end of the video the instructions sheet, and that way you can take a look at it, but it's fairly simple. You don't even really need instructions to assemble this kit. There's not much to it. So let's move little parts around a little bit, and we'll take a look at it. So first thing we'll look at is going to be the fuselage. As you can see, it's got molded in windows. There's the representation of the door, cockpit windows, and representation of the landing gear doors here. That's it. Not much else. Very smooth, clean. Same thing on the other side. There's the representation of the forward door. Then the wing is one giant piece. It does have some representation of the flaps, ailerons, trim tabs. Very little else. A little bit of representation of maybe some de-icer boots. And little tabs on the front of the engine nacelles to attach the engines. This is a solid piece of plastic, very heavy. Later issues of this kit, they actually separated the wings. They recut the molding a little bit differently, and the wings were separate pieces. Then we got the tail assembly. Again, one giant piece. Some representation of the elevators, trim tabs, barely representation of the rudders. This made it really easy when you're assembling this kit. Everything's already perfectly vertical. And then we've got the engines. I did locate the instructions online, and each one of these engines has a number on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, to let you know what order to put on the wings. I guess they were slightly different for somehow, but very simplistic. So you get your 4 engines here. Then you've got what became pretty standard Hawk style of a base. But interesting, this has got the actual name molded on this particular base here. So unlike the later ones where it would just be Hawk and then you put a decal on for the individual aircraft, this early one's actually got the specific name molded on it. And then here's the vertical part of the stand with a nice thick piece of plastic. Here we have the propellers. And so keeping these in a separate little Ziploc baggie to preserve them. This is the original propellers. If you notice, they got little holes going through them. That is, well, actually, before I finish, this is the original cellophane that these propellers came in. So just a little cellophane bag, stapled shut, which has survived, so just kept that. But according to the instructions, you're supposed to put a drop of glue in the center of that little hole there, and then take just a sewing needle, regular head needle that you were supposed to supply yourself. It mentions that in the instructions that it was not supplied by them. And you'd put the needle through that little hole, and then the glue would get onto the end of the needle and would hold the propeller in place. And I guess if you were lucky, they might still be able to spin. But interesting, they're still letting you, or having you, supply the parts to complete this kit. Kind of similar to the recently kind of moving out of style wood kits, where the wood kits, you were expected to be supplying your own stuff as well. So that's it. There's not too much to this kit, but kind of a unique time capsule to what the very first plastic kits would look like. And again, it was reissued a couple of times. The first issue of it was 1949 by Hawk, and then this is the particular one's 1954. The molds got bought up by a company called Lincoln out of Hong Kong. They reissued it a couple of times. Their second issue of the kit, they actually added decals, because this first few issues of this kit did not include decals. The mold ended up with Plasti in West Germany in the 60s, and then back to Hong Kong with Cater in the 70s. And the final issue of it was in the 70s with a company called International Modeling Company in the US. And they made these little bagged kits of some of these older molds. And they sold for like $1.49, in the 70s. So just a way of, maybe making a little cheap buck. They only had about 10 different kits. So that was the last that I could find of this kit being used. By then, it had the wings separated. The mold had been changed a little bit. But some of the later issues, you did get some decal markings for it. So that's it. Let me know if you've ever built this kit. It's kind of a rare kit. So if you have, let me know in the comment section if you have built this one. And if anybody else thinks that the Constellation is one of the most beautiful aircraft ever made, put a comment in the comment section about that as well. So that's about it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Have yourself a great day.